Okay, folks, this is the Hebrew Hammer coming to you live and direct from the virtual metaverse of things. I know you all want to come into this event because I know you all are very creative and you are very amazing and fantastic. Let me zoom in a little bit to myself so you could see how amazing I am. Look at this. I even have magical boobs of electricity. You cannot avoid seeing that because my avatar is so awesome. So you must come in here for this creative event. The creative event and experience creativity as you have never known it before. In Unity Sanctuary. Look at that shot, everyone. I know your creative folks want to come check this out, so please make it your next destination. We do this event weekly. We are very sparse in attendance tonight. This does happen every once in a while. The metaverse is a very complicated and challenging place, but I really do believe in the community. So I call out to you. Come check out the Virtual Conversations for Content Creators. We help foster the creative community, a mentorship program through storytelling where professionals in the industry of creativity stand side by side with people who are interested in doing anything creative, and we basically hold space for each other. Those who are doing amazing projects and amazing creative experiences, and those who really want to learn how. So we're here for you. We're here to support all of you. So come check us out, everybody. It's going to be fun. Here, I'll do a nice little zoom around or pan around. You can see the playa. It's very dry. The dust is kicking up. I'm wondering whether or not people are following the 5 miles an hour you're supposed to be driving at Burning Man. Although I don't see any car tracks anywhere. I do see a big movie screen and a Stargate over there in the distance. I do see the pagoda with all of the Lantern Girl pictures on it, which is amazing. So everyone, now make the decision. Do you really want to make a difference in life? Come out to Virtual Conversations for Content Creators and tell us what you are doing in life. Ah, there's Kalima. Hello, Kalima. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. How are you?
Pretty good.
I'm good.
I was just
I'm good.
shaming everyone
Yeah.
for not showing up. I'm kidding, of course. I was not shaming them. When I did that stream, it was not public, so I realized I was being mean. So I decided not to. How are you?
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm trying to. Oh my God, my controllers are driving me nuts. I keep turning. Um, so I'm trying to work on some Blender that I'm behind on, for that class that I'm retaking.
Hmm.
And trying to figure out things. I think I get it, but yeah, I'm just writing some very thorough notes before I actually try to do my next project.
Right. What are you trying to do in
So
Blender that's giving
I
you
think okay.
challenges? Everything?
Oh, yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Well, I the next thing I'm going to do is a coffee mug, which seems pretty basic. Um, the last thing I did was I made a wine bottle,
Uh-huh.
and then I was going to go back and put in the inside layer because the first time I just did the outside of the wine bottle, and I thought I got it modeled okay, and
Look
then
at
when I
this.
put a material on it, there were some faces on the bottom that wouldn't take the material, and I could
Huh.
never figure out why. So I just set that aside for a few days. I mean, it's like there's one face that will take it toward the bottom, and then there's a few more that won't. And I went over it to see if there were extra faces folded in somewhere, or there I go turning again. Whoops.
Whoa,
Or
what are you
if
doing?
there were extra edges or something. I couldn't find anything. I mean, well,
Interesting.
the things that were there, I think I'd already fixed. So I don't know what it was, but I got very frustrated with that, and so just set aside. So I'm looking at trying a coffee mug next. So
Is
we'll
it a
see how it goes.
curvy is it
But
curvy or is it like
darn
flat?
it.
Is it curvy or is it flat? The mug. There's some
Curvy.
interesting
I
things.
mean,
There's some
it's like a regular wine bottle. It's brown. You start with a cylinder.
yeah.
What's that?
There's some things that you could do with
I,
UV unwrapping where you can actually UV unwrap by view. And I'm wondering whether or not that would help. I do it occasionally.
yeah, I I could do that. I didn't even think about that. We are, the class is going to do UV mappings in the later episodes,
Hmm.
and actually we've already started it, but I'm behind, so I haven't done that yet. But I know how to go in. I try unwrapping it and see what if that tells me anything. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, but
Yeah, that might
something is
help.
definitely funky with it.
Look, it's
Um,
Google Hertz. Holy
yeah.
cow. Dude, you're a hipster. Dude, you look like a freaking weird zombie. What's going on?
Well, I don't see him
It's right here behind you. Beside her.
Hi.
behind me.
I,
Yeah.
I don't know what I look like.
You look like a hipster, dude. Is that your face? I'm gonna take a look. I'm trying to get you close to you. You should see. I'm gonna take a screenshot. I am streaming this to Facebook. All full disclosure. Even though I wrote it in the event, I'm gonna take a screenshot for you. You're gonna love it, dude. You look
All
great.
right.
You look like a South Park character. You look like a
Yeah,
South Park
yeah,
character.
I can see that.
How's it going, Google Hearts? Very
So
good.
that was interesting. I couldn't see him at first, and then all of a sudden he popped in, just all at once. It wasn't like he was loading or anything, like we're used to seeing
My
in, say, VR chat or something. He just popped in all of a sudden.
my controllers are the world's spinning around and my controllers are being really wacky.
You should jump. Watch this.
Oh yeah, me too.
What? What?
How do you do that?
You just jump.
I don't know what a jump is.
You're
Oh,
just good at
there.
keep on jumping.
Whee!
And now you can fly, so move the joystick forward. I keep on jumping. There you go. That is sort of flying.
That's fun.
It's sort of flying that I've programmed in here with visual scripting. Google Earth, you would actually really like it. Spatial has visual scripting. So I guess what it means is
Oh
kind of
yeah?
like all of the
Yeah.
scripting is node based. So it's all based on the C sharp stuff, but it's node based. So
Oh,
it's much
that's
easier.
like Unreal.
Is it really?
I'm learning Unreal.
Right.
Oh, that's
Unreal
cool.
has something
Oh, are
called
you? Okay.
Blueprint. Yeah. I feel really short.
Wow.
You look a little short.
Yeah, I do too, because to me, you look taller than I am. Both of you look taller than I am. I feel short. See, I'm doing the same thing. I'm turning. Then I have to, I can only seem to turn one direction too. I can't seem to go back the other way. Or maybe I am and I can't tell. I don't know. But what are you
Oh
going
my
to use
goodness.
Unreal for? Do you have anything specific?
I'm I'm learning it for work. We're doing an installation for the Southern Poverty Law Center in Montgomery,
Oh,
Alabama.
okay. Yeah.
We already did some last year or the year before, but we're doing this the last gallery where people can they'll use a phone app, and it's sort of like about engagement. So they say how they would like to engage with different causes, and how they would like to, like, whether it's like by posting something on social media or by volunteering or giving money. And then
Money.
their response kind of goes on a big mural. That's like a kind of a hex grid, and kind of migrates up to one of the 4 things that they could volunteer or contribute to, and
Okay.
with their name, and I
Wow.
don't know.
It sounds pretty interesting. And you're getting to
Wow.
use Unreal Engine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops,
Where'd it
there I
go?
go again. I don't know.
I don't
I thought I saw him
know.
pop over there toward the
Really?
ring. But I don't know where he is now.
I think I'm behind this
I
thing.
don't know where he is now.
Where?
Oh, okay.
You can still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, the audio's
There
not
it is.
Yeah, I can still hear
spatialized
you.
here.
It can be. I've decided not to do that because I don't have a pro account, so I can't. I could either do everyone or no one.
Yeah.
How do you jump?
You're on the quest, right?
Oh, that's
The
jumping.
A button.
Yeah, and if you
All
keep
right,
on
yeah.
doing that and push forward, I've created. There was no way to do a gravity where you just floated, so I had to do a slow descent. So what you do is you jump and then you move forward, and if you hold one of the other buttons, I forget which one it is, you move fast.
Kalima, you keep on bending
Oh,
over in a
wow.
funny way, like you have underwear creep.
Underwear
You're
creep.
I do. Darn it! I was hoping to hide that.
It's okay. Sometimes we have challenges with our underwear.
That's
This is
funny.
why it was nice in Alt Space where there was no
Oh my
arms or
gosh.
there was no kind of legs, because the tracking on most devices is not really that great. And what it did, it's kind of awkward. Unless there's really good tracking, your body does weird things in here.
Mhm.
I
Oh my
notice that on
gosh, I'm
VR chat
really
all the
far
time.
away again.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you click on teleport, you could teleport anywhere on the ground. So be careful. Google, come back.
I don't know how to. I don't know how to get
Sorry.
around. You guys are so far away.
Anyway, I'm trying to see. I'm up in the top of the screen. Where is Google? Where is he? I'm
Oh,
trying to find
jeez.
him. Oh,
Whenever
there
I
he
hit my
is.
joystick, everything goes berserk.
You got to go to the Stargate. That's why. You're almost there, dude. Look, there you are. I'm finding you. I see you. I'm coming
I
to the
see you.
rescue. There you go.
Bring that lost sheep home.
It's funny watching these characters fly because they're not really flying, they're falling, so their arms are kind of like doing a wonky thing, like they're flapping their wings or something.
I kind of wonder if I think it was like a long time ago when I used spatial last. Did they have a avatar thing where you took a picture of yourself or something, and it made you put your picture on like a bubble
Yeah, well, that's what it does
that
for
was
you,
your head?
except it did it for your face. It did it to your face, man. So it took a picture of
Mm-hmm.
you and made your avatar face like that.
Yeah. But your oh shit.
Whoa, I'm on
Am I
Facebook,
lost
man.
again? Oh, here you are.
Don't get me banned. I'm kidding. So you're saying Google
Oh, I
Hurts?
should. So you're broadcasting this on Facebook?
Yes. I made a disclaimer in the event itself when I
How,
shared it.
How many viewers do you have?
Me.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, it's
One
quality,
person
not
like
quantity that counts, right?
Yes, it's true. So you were saying before Google, so it's been a while since you've tried Spatial. You know, it's really changed. I had used
It's been
Spatial when
like
it
3
first came
years,
out.
I think.
Yeah, I had started using Spatial when it first came out back in like the alt space when we first all started hanging out in alt space because I did the Singularity University presentation for the Global Summit. We did it in there. And it went from a platform that was solely based on like, let's say corporate events and meetings. And now it's completely kind of geared towards the creative community. And they've been really releasing a lot. It's been a little bit of a kind of mishap and mess. But the nice thing about here is if you know how to do visual scripting in Unity, you can do that in here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe there's like 15,000 nodes, and about 5,000 of them have been, you can't use them, probably because of malicious things. But you could pretty much do anything in visual scripting in here. And from what I understand,
Cool.
it's just a node-based C#.
Okay. I think that's sort of what Unreal is.
It makes sense. It makes life easier. They created visual scripting for people who don't necessarily know code as well. So they can do these things without having to write it out. So you just build out the nodes. So what I did was I created a node of 0 gravity or sort of very little gravity. I made it so you can jump many times. And then I was able to create this feeling of flying. Because everyone was so sad. What was that? There you go. You could see right through my head. I'm looking at you, Google Hertz, right through my head.
Sorry, I had to take off my headphones and headset, but I'm back.
Excellent. Lost Wild.
Okay.
You okay?
So yeah, so like the little laser pointer is like a dashed line, but mine is like going berserk. It's like flashing and flipping around and like zipping all over the place. That's why I sometimes just.
Have you gone into any other virtual spaces besides here? Have you been going to VR chat and stuff?
I've been in VR chat, yeah.
I was just wondering if your controllers
the last
were a
places
little wonky.
It's been a while. I haven't been in VR for like 2 weeks.
That's funny. I never see you in VR chat, and I'm there pretty often. I go in.
Maybe we're not
most nights.
Are we friends there? Maybe we haven't.
I think we are. There yet. I thought we were. If not, we'll have to do something about that. But I thought we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, do something about that, guys.
The Dr. Moro worlds are really cool. Oh, I got a PC, so I can go into PC VR now.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. How's that working?
I have a PC, but I tend to just go in on the standalone Quest just because it's less hassle. Don't have to fool with AirLink or the. I haven't done virtual desktop. I did try AirLink, and I didn't care for it at all. It seemed really glitchy for me, and I haven't tried virtual desktop.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I always get confused whenever I'm trying to do it, but I think virtual desktop is what I always use, and I'm using Steam VR.
Okay.
Does everyone see Lost Wild here as an orange person?
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, I do, but I don't hear him. I just see his.
Hello? 1, 2.
Orange. Lost
it's kind of like a silhouette.
Can you hear me?
You're an orange silhouette.
What's that?
You're an orange silhouette, dude.
Oh, cool. That's weird. Man.
Orange Julius.
I'm on mobile, so maybe I'm playing on my iPhone 14, so I don't know if that's got anything to do with it.
You look like Orange Julius.
You're just in 2D.
That's the nice thing about
Well,
here, Google. You can do it on the
I
iPhone.
see you guys properly.
I can see you just fine.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed this phone does heat up, after you've been in here, and it could be your dust particles, maybe
Probably.
that has high rendering, or I don't know.
The dust particles always do it, but I hate to take them out, Maybe I might. We'll see. It's just always such a nice thing in here.
Maybe less or smaller.
You can't
That's what I
have
was
less or
thinking
smaller.
too.
You can't have less or smaller. So we were talking to Google Hertz. Google Hertz is working on some pretty fantastic stuff with Unreal Engine. Maybe you can do a quick little synopsis for
Ooh, cool.
Lost here for Garnet, because he'd love to hear about the Unreal Engine stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of just starting to scratch the surface. Hey, my controllers were normal for a second, and now they're gone berserk again.
Really?
I had
Maybe
to
you were hacked.
put my left one down because it was just wonky, so it's sitting on the desk, and that way it's not moving me around.
Oh, okay.
But, so I'm curious, what made you choose Unreal Engine? Was that someone else's choice rather than yours?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some of
Okay.
the other developers at where I work, and I think it's just because it can do really nice real-time rendering with light simulation, and there's some kind of alpha version that NVIDIA, it's a branch of Unreal that NVIDIA has. We haven't been able to install it well, get it to work, but it just like it can do real-time ray tracing, and part of it uses AI to upres, so it like usually when you're doing ray tracing, it takes like, I don't know, 10 minutes to paint like the ray trace scene, and you see like this it's very pixelated, this sort of pixel noise while it's filling in, and then it eventually fills in. You don't see that pixel noise anymore because there's enough pixels, but it is this sort of stochastic kind of applied, but the AI can see the first pass of like just a 30th of a second of the ray tracing, and it can guess what it's going to draw, and so it can do 30 frames a second, and do a whole what looks like a ray trace scene. So
Is that for
it's pretty
rendering?
wild what they're doing.
Is that for rendering, you mean? Is that
Yeah.
what that means? That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
they're doing some crazy stuff. And they also have a real-time caustics rendering, like how light travels through something glass that has an index of refraction, and it just like, or a prism, and it will like spread the light and make it into a spectrum. But it can just, it does all this in real time, and it doesn't matter how many, I don't know, light sources you have. It doesn't make it any faster or slower. It's really
Wow.
crazy.
You know what's really
But
interesting?
that
I'm
branch I
curious.
haven't been able to get to work.
I'm curious why all the different virtual reality platforms kind of geared towards Unity versus Unreal, and it seems like Unreal is just superior.
Yeah, Unreal is being used a lot more in like for doing well, in filmmaking, when they what they used to do, like a painted backdrop scenery. They're doing that now with LED walls and using Unreal to generate the scenes in real time.
Yeah, I have a
It
really
does take
funny
a
story
fast
about.
graphics card.
I have a funny story about that. One day, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn, who's a salesperson for those LED walls in China, just because he was really curious about all the art stuff I was doing, and he was really excited. So we had a nice call. But I was telling you about that,
Mm-hmm.
Garnet. So yes, what they're doing with the LED walls is pretty amazing for the backgrounds. What was that called again? Lost Wild. It's on the tip of my tongue right now. When they used to paint the backgrounds, it was so much. It was
Oh,
used so
matte
much.
paintings?
Yeah, matte paintings.
Matte paintings, yeah.
Oh, it was so amazing when they used to do that.
Yeah.
But now it's just like mind blowing what they can do.
Well, it's kind of cool because
Well,
it gives off light, so you get light bounce on the actors as though stuff
Yeah.
is really there. And
yeah, if you think on a small scale, like just taking your little Lego guys and, putting them in front of your TV and using your TV for a background, you can create really cool pictures.
Yeah.
And like say, Unreal Engine just, they've got a good library of free assets that you can, dial in a forest or a castle, or there's so many, cities now. That's kind of the beautiful flexibility of it. You can just, and I guess with AI now, it's just going to be you speak it,
Right.
you just type in what you want to see back there, and there it is.
That's a really interesting topic I'd like to talk about. I'd love to get some people in here for some interviews too and talk about some of these things. I think one of the things I wanted to
But
talk to you about Lost Wild was you had mentioned something about the avatars, and I was just curious when you messaged me about the avatars. Did you want to do some stuff in here with the goats in Spatial?
well, definitely we haven't successfully been able to get a goat avatar into here, just because I don't know, whatever, we just gotta lack that information of how to get the polygon count right, or whatever, for the
The
clothing to work.
information is in that link that I sent you about what it needs to be. So if you send those to your devs, and also
Yeah.
it could be a lot more than that, except you're not able to use those avatars in all the spaces. So if you wanted to host a few spaces on templates that are yours, then we can pretty much have anything we want in there.
Okay. Yeah. So the devs who are doing the avatar for GTA, those guys are sort of a different group, but I did send the specs to them because as they're basically converting a VR chat avatar for GTA. And yeah.
Wait,
So
for Grand Theft Auto?
yeah. So you have, there's private servers for Grand Theft Auto that you can import, anything you have in VR chat, you can play in that game as well.
Really?
Which is kind of cool. Yeah. So like for me, just like I'm excited for I don't know, just the different sets. Like I want to film the goats and make short films with them. And, now we can do crime goats or whatever, just set in that world of crime.
Yeah.
We can sort of make up stories, and they can drive around cars, and, you've got the instant kind of playability.
Right.
If you're part of a community where, maybe that's part of your gift for being in the community is your personalized avatar that you can play, 1, VR chat, 2, spatial, 3, GTA, it just becomes something kind of fun for
Does
them to do.
GTA have access to Ready Player Me?
I don't know what the process, like that would be a question if those dev guys who convert them to GTA, like I'm sure it, just like Spatial has its own specifications, you have to, I think they call them PEDs, whatever that means, PEDs. Is that short for something?
pedestrian?
Pedestrian, I don't know. Like
Pedestals?
PED files.
Pedestals?
I don't know. That the one guy, he might be joining us tonight. So he would be a good guy to ask because he's been playing that GTA with their community for quite a while.
Cool.
You know, the one thing I was going to say about Unreal Engine that I thought was recent, it's been released for a while, but it was kind of updates to the face tracking that you can do with your phone. So there's an app that you use and it tracks your facial expressions, and then you can use those face expressions for the new metahumans that they have. And like it's at a new level where it's just so good, just like every small thing of your face is just captured like at a Hollywood type level.
Wow.
And I saw some demos on YouTube this week of people using that. So, you know, before you needed that expensive headgear and stuff like this, you know, and put little dots on your face and everything. Now it's just like, just with the iPhone and the over-the-counter free version of Unreal Engine, you can make these super lifelike, you know, characters, and the facial expressions is just like crazy. I guess it could be like beasts and stuff like that too, but
Right.
that's where, anyway, I just find that I'm really wanting to experiment with that and just like create a couple monsters or something.
So what's the drive to do this
Yeah,
from
go
the
ahead.
GTA environment so you can do some more stuff with like production, or like what's the drive for doing some of this?
Yeah, like the graphic qualities in GTA is like super high, or like just really interesting and very interactive. So like jump in a car and cruise around the city and smash into other cars, or you know, like they have so many cool in-game like interactions that you can do in that world. So to have, you know, my avatar, I can go and film all these super cool action sequences with my Matrix goat and post those on social media, and people are like, whoa, that's like so cool. Like just the level of animation and yeah, even just for storytelling, like, hey, if you want to, like, say GTA, because I mean, it's designed for, you know, fast cars and guns and crime and stuff like this. So it naturally sort of forces you into that genre of storytelling, right? Where you've got these characters who are whatever trying to, you know, the crime story, but for our, I don't know, community, or we're trying to say, hey, we're here creating cool media products that we want to engage audiences to develop our characters and our world. These unique sort of goats adds value to them when we put them in sort of unreal situations, stuff like this.
I'm wondering whether they have a specific dev spec or SDK that you might. Do your devs normally do the stuff for GTA? The devs you sent this to?
No. Well, this is another group that I met. Actually, I met them in Neos on the Neos platform, and they were, you know, they're on VR chat. They're on Neos. They, you know, they're kind of on a lot of the virtual platforms, and they're super smart at, like, they were in Neos and they were shooting a live video in Neos, yet they were streaming it to some of these other worlds, you know. So they'd be shooting in Neos and streaming into, I think there's another called Sands or something like that. I forget the name of the platform, but it was another sort of more crypto-based platform, and streaming on YouTube or streaming on Twitch. But they had said, you know, for filmmaking and just having a totally open source world where you can have as much control and as you want with as little administrative lockdowns, Neos was the place
Really?
for that. Yeah. Yeah, well, just because really when you're in Neos, you have total, like when you create your world, you're serving it yourself, and they give you complete kind of dev access to that, to play with the nuts and bolts of in real time, not like say going back to Unity and then tweaking your world and stuff like this. You get hands-on controls to the what they call the logic boards that they let you spawn inside those worlds.
But that means you have to create everything with the world building tools.
Yeah, I mean they have. Well, you could import like I think something from you could import something from like a typical asset from another platform, but how it functions, how the lighting functions and all that kind of stuff is kind of done inside of it.
You know something I just thought of that was really interesting? I don't know if it would I don't know if maybe Unreal could probably do it better. Maybe it probably could. But when I was talking to the people at Igloo Vision, they're the people who do 360 immersive theaters, and what they do is they have a plugin that works directly with Unity. And I'm wondering if that could be used in some kind of virtual film production, because what it could do is you can attach a 360 camera in Unity directly, and then project that as you're moving your character around in a 360 immersive theater, and that could be all LED walls. So that would be interesting to be able to shoot a film where you have like your students in a room that's LED walls, and they have this whole virtual environment around them, and then they could do physical people in there also.
Repeat that to me once more time.
So Igloo Vision is a company that does 360 immersive theaters, and they do like corporate theaters and things like that, smaller or larger ones.
Okay.
And one of the things they have is a plugin for Unity that's a 360 camera that goes to the projector that projects everything live from, let's say, Unity directly. And I'm wondering whether or not there's a way to do that on LED walls, and then you could do like a film with your students where where they're in a room, an LED wall room, and all of a sudden they're in a virtual space, but like as physical people.
Yeah. Yeah, like they would be in a room and then sort of virtual like if we were in that room, we could look into a ball in the center, like the center of the Stargate. We would see the kids sitting in the room. They could come up to the glass and talk to us.
Yeah, something like that.
Like we'd be looking in the circle, we'd be looking at them, and they'd be looking at us.
Yeah, something like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would definitely be cool.
Yeah, where two worlds kind of come together, like where they interact with each other, not just on a screen, but you could literally, like if they walk over to one side of the room to talk to someone over there, they could have a private conversation. Part of the thing is the audio would have to be really unique. Unless they all wear headsets in the real room.
Oh, you mean
that could work then?
Yeah, it would probably have to be that way. Or
like if you wanted to talk to someone who's over on the other side of the room, but you don't want everybody talking at once, as long as you had a headset that had some kind of positional tracking, that's the tricky part. Or maybe you don't need to have conversations.
That's a really good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if the room was huge, it could be interesting because we could have like a Dolby Atmos system or something in there. And sound could be wherever it was.
Well, yeah, but you don't need Dolby if if everyone's got, their own earbuds in
Yeah, that would be
that
the
are
best way to do it.
directional.
Yeah, that would be the best way to do it. Uh, I think really
Like it would
too.
definitely work if they had a headset.
Well, if they had earphones in, and this is a much more complicated kind of challenge, I think, because technically, if you're on your phone and you basically went into the same area as you were talking to on the screen, and you were taking the audio out of the phone, it would basically
Oh
connect with that
yeah.
person.
Yeah, your phone would have to be connected. It would have
Yeah.
to be a sort of positional kind of thing. But like I say, it does make it just, the cost of setting up those type of walls. Like
Hmm.
even the little half circle that I went to, the 35-foot screen,
Yeah.
like they rent that place out for $25,000 a day.
Wow. I wonder how much one of those
So
screens cost.
so I don't know, but it gives you the idea of, is it scalable for having meetings with regular people? Like usually those big screens,
Hmm.
like when they're engaged, they're there to make money.
Right.
They're either advertising inside some big store where they're playing ads on it, or some promotional event, some outdoor
Hmm.
concert. But someone's renting that wall and paying for all of the energy that goes through it. Um, versus, a $500 headset like the Quest 2, which gets you there, gets you
Yeah.
um, an experience. Like I almost see, those kind of classrooms that have like 25 headsets on little stands,
Yeah. Yep.
where a group of kids can have an experience together. But you know that is the what do you call it, the Star Trek, what you call it,
The holodeck.
place, the holodeck. In some ways it's more powerful because it's more like inclusive and surrounding than even an LED screen.
Right.
Because even those big LED screens, those, when you get up close to them, they the pixelization is not fine. The you start seeing just the lights of the
Yeah, I know.
pixels.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've gotta keep your distance from those. They're
Right.
designed to be looked at from a distance. Um, unless there's, I don't know, if you literally took TV LED screens and put that high level of fidelity through them. But I think part of why the big ones are work the way they do is the amount of data that goes to each screen is only so much, right? Because they've
Hmm.
only got so many pixels per
Right.
panel. But if you can imagine like 35 feet of full-on 4K TVs, like the amount of data that would need to go to each television to give the full, I don't know, the full depth of the screen or whatever. It's
You could
probably
just do that
super
with a new
high.
Mac Pro, man. I'm kidding. You could just do that with a new Mac Pro. I can't. Did you see the spec of the new Mac Pro? It can record 24 4K
No,
cameras at ProRes at the same time.
really?
Could you imagine 24
What?
web cameras
What's
recording in
its
ProRes at the same time on a Mac Pro?
what's its format?
Would the format's ProRes? It's the Apple ProRes. I guess you can really record in whatever format you want as long as you have the software that does it. But Apple's uncompressed or very high quality recording is ProRes. It's ridiculous. It's like gigabytes per like minute. You sure there, Lost Wild? I don't know if it's me or you. Can you hear me?
I
Yeah, I
accidentally
lost you for a
muted
second.
myself.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So what does that machine look like? What is it in a box? Yeah.
Oh yeah, the new Mac Pro is in a tower.
Hmm.
It's the
Like
only
a
one
cheese
Mac,
grater?
like a which? Like a cheese grater, yeah. It's the only, they still kept that format. It's the only Mac that's out still that you can modify. So you can still put all the cards in there, and you can still do all this stuff you would normally do with a normal desktop. So the only thing is, it's the base price is like $7,000.
Oh, yeah. I'd almost want to buy their headset
Yeah,
for
but if you look
that.
into what a Mac Pro can do, and I think a Mac Pro stock can do what I just said, the 24 recording ProRes 4K cameras. That's pretty good.
Yep.
If you're a
I
production
guess
studio, it
if
makes
that's what
sense.
you're doing.
Well, if you're a production studio, you know, if you're
Yeah.
shooting sports or something.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what it does. Like renderings and stuff like that, or rendered 3D graphics. Could be
Right.
interesting. It's funny. I've got the company that supplied all the computers for the Film Academy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple computers the Visual Effects Academy wants to buy. One is a computer just for rendering, because the kids are learning on a program called Maya.
Yeah,
I wish
Maya.
they'd start. I wish they'd start on Unreal Engine and just is. I mean, Maya is cool, but it's sort of the adult 3D, you know,
It's difficult. I know. I've tried
you
it.
know,
It's not easy.
yeah.
Not easy.
It's like anyway, they start teaching them because, like, I know why they did it because the guys who started the Visual Effects Academy they're like working pros in the Vancouver industry,
Right.
and so like, hey, well, let's teach kids how to use Maya and Nuke, and those are the top two programs that VFX pros need to use.
Yeah, why don't we just teach the kids quantum
Which,
physics too when they're 6 years old?
yeah, which is great, but all the fun stuff like is like Unreal Engine, like mapping a face, you know, making a monster talk, and
Right.
all that kind of fun stuff, and like creating games super quick. Anyway, we need a computer for rendering Maya 3D files, and we need. Well, I asked that they price one out for Unreal Engine that would be optimized for Unreal Engine. So
Right.
it'll be interesting to see the computer that specs that they send me back for Unreal Engine.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
Yeah,
I have a
yeah,
very interesting thought about 3D modeling. I use Fusion 360, and Fusion 360 is also Autodesk because I've tried Maya before, and it's just way out of my. I don't have the capacity right now to learn Maya. There's just so much going on there. But the nice thing about Fusion 360 is it's also from Autodesk, and it's so easy to use, and it's very powerful.
Interesting.
Because it depends on what you want to
Yeah.
model.
How about
Fusion 360 also
compared
does
to
molding.
Blender?
To Blender, oh, it's so much easier than Blender. And Fusion 360 has the ability to do sculpting
Easier
also.
than Blender.
Yeah, but the problem with Fusion 360 is it uses real-world simulation and modeling for people who are building things for real. So the models are so intense and heavy, you can only do there's only such complex things you could do. Like you're not going to be creating an avatar character in Fusion 360. But like if you were creating a space like this, I would create it in Fusion 360 because it's very geometric. So it all depends. But to learn the basics of 3D modeling, it's nice because you still learn what these things are and what this stuff does, what meshes are, and all the different ideas of what this is. So I guess it really all depends what your outcome is.
Yeah, no, it's good to know. Like,
what was that, Google Arts?
Blender's, but Blender's like is pretty amazing, but it's pretty complicated because it can do so much.
Right.
But I was two people have suggested Cheetah as something that's much easier to use, but also very capable. So somebody at work really likes Cheetah. We'll use Blender for some things, but if they can do it with Cheetah, they prefer that. Also, Bracer Jack, he also says, "Oh, I love Cheetah."
Really?
Blender's like a whole can of worms, but Cheetah's really likes it.
Dude, I finally heard from Bracer Jack like about a few months ago. I got to reach back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I wanted to touch on.
Seen...
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Google. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I haven't seen him since Altspace demise. I was but he did give me. He said, what was it called? Snapchat? No, like.
He gave you a Snapchat. He's looking to send naked pictures. Nice. I'm kidding.
No, not Snapchat. It was another one. Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
WhatsApp?
It's just like it's another telephone. Oh, WhatsApp. Yeah, he likes using WhatsApp.
Yeah, I'm on WhatsApp too. WhatsApp is good. It's a lot of people.
I don't really like using WhatsApp because you can't. It's really hard to use. Like, I really don't like software that wants you to link it to your contacts, because I think that's a violation of privacy of all your friends to give some corporation all of their phone numbers and names and addresses.
What you can theoretically do is have two different contact lists. I know it's a pain in the butt, and maybe only have a list of people for WhatsApp.
I don't know how to do that
I don't know how to do that either, but it's a good thought to think of for myself personally. Yeah, I don't think people.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that. Facebook owns WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
So I was saying, one thing I wanted to touch on with you, Lost Wild, now that we have Kalima and Google Hertz here, us old schoolers, I am trying to figure out how to kind of inspire the old gang to get their butts back in here again. And I think really it would be a combination of all of our efforts. So I think that it was easier in Altspace because we were all just in there, and they had the events page, and people saw that there was something going on. I mean, this is live right now. When people go into Spatial, they'll see that there's something live happening, and they'll see this event is live, so they'll know to come in here. But I just wanted to like reach out to the community about how we can get this going again in a better way.
Yeah. Oh, hey, by the way, where is Spatial at with the friend on the social connections? Because that was one reason why people would always hop into a world, was because you were friends and they were bored. It's like, oh, we're, so you get that exponential.
Right on their
you
Slack
hop
right
in.
now. Well, while you're asking, let's see where they're at with that. So I'm gonna be like, I heard
something. Yeah, I mean, it's just
like sort of integration in Spatial. I'm going to ask the Slack right now.
Other than that, the typical just ideas for promotion is to, offer, let people know a week in advance of something, some special treat that's going to be happening. Either we have a special guest who's going to talk about something we really, really want to hear about, or we do, we're going to have a giveaway, some kind of prize or something like this that incentivizes people to want to show up.
Right.
I agree with that. I think people are more inclined to show up if there's some kind of content that they are really interested in, something that makes them put it in their calendar and make the effort to be there. I also think that not having the events page that we were used to before is a really big issue, and that's a hard one right there because you put notices out in the Discord, but I know I don't check all the servers in Discord that I'm on, and I tend to miss things a lot.
So how
And
about this?
that's something
How about this?
Okay.
If I were to put together some kind of a spreadsheet where we can start brainstorming on some of the things that we would like to see to make this a better place for events, can I have some of your help to try to figure that out and organize it, and maybe also some help to sort of promote that we're doing this? Maybe get a little bit more people in here.
Sure.
Because I don't hear any. I hear crickets on the virtual conversations for content creators page. The Discord, we got over 200 people in there. We got like over 200 people in there, and I don't hear anyone responding to the messages I send out. If anyone still looks at the Discord anymore, half of the folks, maybe they don't look at Discord too much. And I also post this all on Facebook. So I'm going to say, Lost Wild, if we can get some more people just to reshare all this stuff, and we should try our best to try to get some more folks in here. Because if the room was full, people come into Spatial, they'd see that this room was full.
Hey, one idea could be that some of the old crew OGs, we say, hey, we'd like you to specifically share on this upcoming Wednesday, like whether it's Ice Whiz or something like this. Like it doesn't have to be long, but you just make it intentional, right? That you're saying, hey, we want you there for this day, and then they're gonna have a little something to prepare. Or if there's anything you want to share beforehand, drop it to me on Discord and I'll make sure it's on the big screen when you come in here. I think that too, like I'd like to see the like us making use of like a screen or something like that where we've got little sort of show and tell stuff that we can bring up on a PC screen. Because sometimes there's stuff during the week and we just want to get everybody's reaction to it. Like we were talking about Unreal Engine today. It could just be, oh, let's watch the 60-second demo of that particular thing. And that, and that's easy. That's easier actually to do here in Spatial than in Altspace.
So do you think we should focus on just maybe a few people, one person for each event, or we should just maybe like this? What do you think? Like I was thinking about doing interviews.
I'd do a couple go to the OGs and then say, hey, next Wednesday, like pick out 3 of them. Say, would you be willing to share? I had some questions for you. There's kind of our old group, but there's some new people from Spatial. It's going to be there. Would you be willing to do that? And then, that's intentional, right? They're just going to put it on their calendar rather than just expecting them to show up automatically.
So, that's a good point. Maybe I'll just reach out to them directly.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get 2 or 3 people that are kind of related to the same topic, like if you're going to talk about Unreal Engine, have a couple of different people that can speak on that topic, but different branches of it, so it's kind of related, but each person is just doing a little bit. Or if we want to talk about 3D modeling, we could have one person talk about Blender, one person talk about this Cheetah, which I've never heard of. So if we could get 2 or 3 people to give very short presentations on similar yet different topics, that would be, kind of low intensity for each presenter, but enough to really get people excited about coming.
Yeah, this is a good idea.
Do you have contact information for people? Yeah.
It's a good idea, but the problem is it takes so much time just to organize all of that. Now, if this was my full-time job, I would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
definitely all over it. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to try to do that, which is why I was saying maybe get one person to speak each week, because that's probably challenging enough.
Yeah, okay.
But that's why I
Mm-hmm.
was also
Right,
making a
right,
call
okay.
out for the community to help. So if we could somehow wrangle
Yeah.
the
Hey,
community,
also, like that's it, again, it becomes another like service that someone who has that gift of administration, like maybe that's not your thing, but that's someone we can hand off to somebody who loves doing that stuff,
I'm trying to find
right?
that person,
And I'm
Wild.
this,
It's been challenging.
well, one person I think of comes to mind is she was here the other week with she's the motivational speaker girl.
What do you mean the
Joanne?
last time we did
You know,
this?
yeah,
No.
The
what,
motivational speaker girl.
what's her name?
Trying to think of
Yeah,
her.
she does speech. She
Oh,
teaches people how to speech.
you mean, I am so brain dead right now.
Melanie,
You mean Melanie?
Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie. Well, she's more of a motivational
Yeah,
speaker.
Oh.
She's a Toastmaster, which is about
yeah,
teaching that kind of thing too, and inspiring and mentoring and that kind of thing.
but
Yeah, she'd be perfect at it, but the
yeah,
problem is we're all busy.
but Melanie, you don't think that's her gifting area? Maybe I'm wrong.
The gifting area of organizing or the
Admin
gifting
wise,
area of talking? I think her gifting area is
yeah,
talking, is speech, is speech.
yeah. Well, it could be like once you have that role sort of actually written down, sort of like, hey, if you're, are you willing to volunteer for once a week as the, I call it the first AD role because
Mm-hmm.
they're the ones who typically send out
Yeah.
the shooting schedule, make sure everyone got the email, everyone has directions, they've got the time, they know what they're doing.
Well, this was my first thought too this today, and then I was really thinking about this specifically. I'm like, we talked before about making virtual conversations for content creators at DAO. And this might even inspire more people to want to be a part of it, maybe with the future intention of people getting some kind of real value out of something like this. And then I was thinking to myself, I've got D Studio DAO that I'm a part of, which is still in beta, but it's a decentralized production studio based on creatives. Now, if we can actually concentrate all of these different roles in a DAO and somehow have some kind of a token that may or may not have any kind of real value versus more of like uh, skill value or something like that. Like in D Studio, we have the honey token, which is basically efforts you put into. So you earn more honey with the more efforts you put into uh, versus just like a payment. But I'm wondering whether or not if we can sort of integrate the DAO idea to where people can bring their talents to the table and have some kind of placeholder token or something like that that will have value at some point, and they're doing it now kind of like with the knowing that it will have that value.
Yeah, well, sort of like tokens, can do different things. Like for a DAO, like number one is just like a membership token. You're
Yeah,
either a member or you're not. And membership gives you voting on making the decision.
right.
So that membership does have an intrinsic value to it, just in that, but the value varies as to, you know, do you want in a community like this? Do you find, like, do you
Well,
want to have that ability to vote on
well, this is my thought.
the,
This is my thought, Garnet.
activities?
Kind of like what I'm saying about the value token or the honey token in D Studio is your efforts you put in are then transformed into a token that you receive in your wallet. That's a token based on all the efforts you've done. And then what happens on the platform itself, someone is looking to put together a production, can see each person's bio, and they could see like, whoa, Kalima, she's got like 5,000 honey tokens. she must have put a lot of effort into the virtual conversations for content creators doing production work or doing organization work. And what this token does is you don't buy in with buying a token, but this token is given to you based on the effort you've put in. And then on the platform, then you can get hired to do something else based on the fact that you've done all this work.
Yeah, I think like first of all, decide what try to think of what is the business model without any tokens. How does it work? If you didn't have any tokens, what would you do? And then sort of once that's kind of working and sort of like, what do you want to do? Is this educational group?
Mm-hmm.
Are you producing stuff? Are you selling it?
Well,
Once
we
you have
already
kind
have
of the business
D-Studio.
model down, then you can
We
kind of
already have
figure
D.
out the
We already have
tokenization of it.
Yeah, we already have D-Studio, and maybe I talk to you offline about this one because I think D-Studio is the perfect platform for any creative. And the idea, could you imagine, Garnet, if you needed to put together a production and then you were able to look on the D-Studio platform and find like an AD, two directors, 15 camera people, and it was all based on the D-Studio platform of global creatives. And some of the people on there, they don't necessarily need to be, let's say, where you are shooting the production. They could be remote while they're doing the work. And then the person who has the project or the person who needs the project done can see and manage the whole thing through the platform.
Yeah, can you repeat? Sort of, I was getting interrupted there.
Oh yeah, no worries. So
I
with
just missed that up.
D-Studio, the idea is a decentralized production studio, and the idea is everyone who is a creative industry person is part of the platform. And if somebody needs a creative project done, like they need to do a music video, they need to do some kind of documentary, they want to do something like that, commercial, they can do is they can assemble an entire team through the D-Studio platform, decentralized studio, and a whole entire production can then be managed and done through the DAO, the D-Studio DAO, and every single one of the creatives are a part of it. So every person who's a creative in D-Studio, they don't buy the token or they don't buy an NFT to be part of that DAO. What they do is they go into the platform and make themselves available. And some of the things that we have in there is like the honey token. So one of the things right now with D-Studio is, since it's still in beta, and the cash flow is not what we want it to be, is we defer a lot of stuff. So we defer a lot of payment. So we start with what is a real world salary or payment, and then we kind of defer the rest, and then some of it rolls into something called a honey token. And the honey token is based on the efforts we have and the skills we have. And if you could measure all the different skills someone has in, let's say, camera work or directing or technical directing or AD or anything like that, and then these were measured by the tokens that they received as they're kind of like, I'm a 25th level wizard or something like that. And people are like, dude, I need like 25th level wizards to do my film. So basically you go to this platform and you assemble a whole entire production team to do whatever you need to do, and you manage the whole entire thing through the platform. And this is kind of what we're trying to work on with D-Studio. So I was wondering whether or not we integrate the virtual conversations and maybe just in general, a lot of the production work through a D-Studio platform or something like that.
What is D-Studio? I was looking on Googling it, but I can't.
I have to
It's
send
lot
you a
of
link.
different
It's difficult to
D-Studios.
find. Yeah, it's difficult to find. It's like dstudio.earth. But let me get you the exact link. D-Studio is decentralized production studio, and the idea is it's based on blockchain. And like I was saying before, creatives become a part of that platform. They create a proposal for something, like this project's coming up. They create a proposal, and then the community votes on that, for now at least. And then each of these proposals are like, okay, I have this role, I see this role available. They need an AD for a film production. I'm going to put a proposal in for that. They proposed, the amount of wage they want, and the amount of hours they're able to put into it, and then all of a sudden you have a decentralized production studio. So globally, what we can do is we can create these production studios. So there's a lot of times when work does not necessarily need to be done locally. If you're an AD, you don't necessarily need. Well, if you're a director, even you don't even necessarily need to be in the same room as all the people if you set it up correctly. It depends, really. A director and a technical director and a lot of these television production people, they could all be somewhere else as long as you have it set up correctly. And this is kind of like something where like Session Wire would fall in to place Lost Wild, where everyone's getting high quality audio, so you can do a full on television production, and every single person in the production could be located somewhere else. All operating like robotic cameras, but high fidelity robotic cameras, where you have to actually have really good skills to use them, like a video game skill, really good skills. So there's so much we could possibly do here with that, and I'm wondering maybe integrate something like that with this.
I mean, I like the
website,
idea of. I like that idea of course, like the goats. That is the experiment that we're attempting to do, and the idea that a decentralized group of creatives could actually produce amazing stuff if
Right.
like depending on what kind of resources they have, and the idea that we all, like, the most powerful resource we have is us, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And our ability to work together. But it does need, like, say, the reality of, when I get hired to work on a show, they own me, for that time. And the reason their show gets the attention is because they have the money and the resources to,
yeah, of course,
pay me to be there and show up. So, number one, like when I think of virtual content creators, the original intention was, almost, a bit of finding a place to connect with other like-minded people. And even on the very first level of just getting together Wednesday nights, there was a lot of value created, like the friendships that I made and the connections with people that I made on these Monday nights, Wednesday nights was amazing, right? And that led to all kinds of projects and, all kinds of interactions that, so and mental health wise, it was a great thing to be meeting everyone, hearing their stories. Yeah. I always went away from Monday nights really inspired. So there's value. Like, when you think of what is the value of things, my definition is, if you can come together in a space and exchange truth, in a safe space, that is very valuable. And, that's the core, I think, kind of without anything super complex to now, how do we scale something like this? How do we, like, I would, because I do see talent in these places, and I see definitely the ability to kickstart projects, for sure. So part of the, then the trick is, even the goats, like when we did our bid for funding, we did it during a timing where, NFTs we were just coming into what was referred to as NFT winter. Crypto had just kind of plummeted. And so instead of us getting $1 million funding thing where we could actually have, a treasury where we could fund multiple creative projects and kind of get down to business, we only, not that it was a bad goal, we raised like a little over $100,000. So, and we really haven't touched that, because it's kind of like, it's almost like it wasn't enough to really kickstart some of the projects that we wanted to do. So
Yeah.
we've kind of been waiting to see, like, okay, what can we do, or can we have another kick at the can to do another level of, or increase our membership, right? And we were selling our memberships for like $250 or something like that per NFT. So like, or maybe there are people who are super wealthy, which, you know, there are people like that who say, yeah, Brian, I want to kick off your DAO. Let's drop, you know, like $100K, $200,000 into it.
$5 billion. Shoot for real. $5 billion.
Yeah. Or I mean, no, I mean, but like, you know, I think $10,000 is a lot of money. Like you can do, just because Jason and I typically do super low budget feature films. So like, hey, like we did that World War II movie with like $20,000 budget, I think, which was insane for a war movie.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff going on.
And I mean, it's like we had 3 German uniforms, which we had to keep recycling, and have more people die. And like there was limitations to when the budget is so low. And you hear some of these Netflix shows, like that new series called 1899 or something like that, about these guys on a ship. And I'm watching the behind the scenes. Their wardrobe budget was insane. Like all of these costumes, like custom built, the sets,
I can imagine.
like you know, I don't know if it was like a $70 million production or something like that, but we're not even talking about that. Like, to think about some of the projects we could kickstart in here, simple games, simple films, other educational kind of ideas.
Well, how about this? And this is why I wanted to talk to you on the higher level too. We don't have to necessarily go into details now, but I have been working with a couple of these groups who build the DAO tools. I had shown you before, the HIFA stuff, and they have a really good kind of technical team behind them. But one of the things I think that would be kind of like a massive sort of enhancement would be stuff that I wanted to talk to you about. And that includes, how do we get the masses to understand what we're talking about, and not necessarily only the few high-level geeks to understand all of this, and not even high-level geeks, but just people who are really into this and understand this, and create a language for folks, like what the Social Bees did. They took the time, and every single person that needed some explanation of what to do, they would spend, like you were saying, like hours sometimes just going through this stuff with them, how to set up their wallet and all that stuff. So I think what needs to happen is, there's so many people who want to do this, but it is a language that's so complicated that unless we figure out a way of making the language easily digestible and understandable, and people not afraid of it, it's not going to really happen. So I think we need to kind of figure out, like, we're creatives, dude. I think we could figure out how to spin a beautiful story to explain this.
You know, part of what the Bees did too, they had spent 6 months on Zoom calls before, like, that was their, you know, before they even got into NFTs or anything like that.
Right.
It was kind of, and those were really non-technical people. None of them knew what a crypto wallet was or anything like that. But it was just old-fashioned, and they formed a community. Like, they got to like each other just doing those Zoom calls. And that's kind of what we had built in Altspace. There started to be that regular, just people who like to hang out together. And it's like, of course, the one thing they had in common was they were just building stuff, cool stuff in Altspace.
Right.
And that was the fun of getting together. So like, oh, what did you build? Oh yeah, I want to show you this. Like, that was the fun of it. So maybe, like, can Spatial be that? And does it have the same, I don't know, DNA? Can we make this kind of experience into that fun meeting place? Because I think out of the relationships, out of the community, you can introduce sort of those other kind of experimental ideas. And DAOs are, you know,
I think the
they're
entire
still
community of spatial are creatives. I think the entire community here are all creatives. I think what happens is maybe they get a little bit nervous when they come into a space because every time I see someone from spatial come in here who's only spatial, they always seem to not have a mic working, and they're always using the chat. And I'm wondering whether or not they're just kind of like a little bit nervous to talk to people. So I think what we need to start doing, I guess, is be involved with more of a community in general. So I think if we're able, just as a homework assignment, and I'm going to ask everyone who comes to this event now in Spatial if they could just help out with this, just kind of like send a blast out on Facebook and whatever, like you were doing on Twitter, just to get as many people in here as possible. So what we could do is once we start having more folks in here, you'll see it's live. You'll also see that there are many people in here. More people will get interested and to come into this space. And then we could start bringing more people who are only in the spatial environment in here, because the people from the spatial environment will see that there's 30 people in here, 40, 50, 60, whatever, how many people it is. And then we could start introducing them to this concept and what we're trying to do, get more people on the Discord. Because I think pretty much anyone in spatial is into something either crypto or creative, and they're all doing it in a very strong way. So I think it's very positive. But I think what happens is, like you said, the tool that's the problem, no one knows who's online when they're and where they are. So I just messaged the Slack on that one.
Is there a lot of content in spatial? I haven't really been here much.
Lost Wild's got to head out.
But I find it kind of.
So we just want to say
Okay.
adios.
I find it a little glitchy.
Well, I think it is,
All
but
right.
the problem is, talk to you later, Lost. I think the thing is, it is glitchy, but it's still in beta. They're updating the SDK like every other day or every week. They have a creative. They have a Discord server with a bunch of people on it who can make comments like this, but they also have a Slack channel which I can invite you to, and also people can make comments on that directly. And the whole entire spatial team is part of that Slack also. So it's kind of like AltSpace.
Cool.
Remember on the Discord server where we had people that we used to talk to who are part of the dev team, and sort of other folks who are actually part of AltSpace? The Slack for Spatial has the entire
what about
team
Banter?
on it. Well, I haven't had a chance to check Banter out yet, and they kind of said something in one of their advertisements that kind of like, I want to say, rubbed me the wrong way. But we're working on a few different things that require us to be connected to blockchain, and they said they want to have nothing to do with that. So I don't know if they've changed that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that when like I kind of lose interest.
Well, that's because everyone in education.
Blockchain reactive myself.
That's kind of just education. We're not even necessarily going to be using it for money value in so many cases, just to make a contract and just kind of access. Think of it as a token access to get into a space. So if you're having a private event, you give someone an NFT that gives them access only, and it doesn't even have to be money. So all they could do, well, it could be money. So what you do is you buy a ticket, and the ticket is an NFT, and the NFT, once you hold it, gives you access to the event because it's got an NFT gate on it. And at the same time, that NFT could go up in value. It's possible. I mean, a lot of NFTs do that. So think of the blockchain on multiple levels. Also think of the blockchain as not necessarily a money thing, but a technology thing that is allowing full transparency. So you see the interactions and where they go. I think that's part of the problem with the blockchain. And everyone keeps on saying all these different things about it and its economy, but really when you look at the regular fiat cash economy, that was built on death and destruction. and all sorts of things, blood diamonds, mining gold, kids mining gold, all sorts of stuff. So it's not like any system is any more corrupt than the other. And the truth is, I think what happens is the only people who have something to lose in the digital currency world is the banking system. Because the banking system kind of loses control. The central banking system loses control, and the people become more of their own entity. Of course, it's not gone in that direction yet, but because it's a complicated thing.
Yeah, I guess that some of the things that I feel like
it's a
gotten
complicated thing
from the whole blockchain and crypto stuff is that, and I know it doesn't apply to all of them. There's different things that apply to different ones, but for like Bitcoin, it was like it just took it's based on proof of work, and so it's sort of like the value is based on consumption of energy.
Can we make this
we need
kind of
to
experience
change the way that we consume? We need to conserve energy, and I don't value burning energy just to make the currency run. So it doesn't reflect my value, but also I guess there's also been a lot of hype, and I kind of feel, sometimes it kind of seems a little bit like snake oil and stuff like that. I just don't trust it, and I feel like it's and also the kind of the get rich quick kind of thing, which then harkens to like pyramid schemes, and like some people will make a lot of money, but some people will be like not benefit. And so it's sort of like, I don't know, that also doesn't appeal to me. And I know that that's not characteristic of probably all the different types, but I just sort of feel like, I don't know.
I think you just described currency in general. I think you just described currency in general. This is what my point. My point is, yes, of course, everything you just said is some things that happen. But, I mean, it's also the same thing that happens in everything else. I mean, in the pandemic, the United States printed $6 trillion out of nowhere. Where'd that come from? And they printed it because we were in a pandemic, and, you know, everyone was locked down, and we had to figure out how to keep the country alive, and we didn't want everyone to become homeless. But what stopped us from doing that before?
Yeah.
So in essence, what happened was they just printed money. They just printed money.
Well, it makes inflation.
Well, of course it makes inflation, but yes, but I'm just saying, in reality, they just printed money. And what does money really do? Now, what I was talking to you about before with Garnet about, like, let's say that honey token thing I was talking about, what value you have, that is kind of more about a world where there is no money, and each person does something and earns credibility by their actions and not by a currency. So what I believe the blockchain has the power to do is be the bridge between money and no money. Because you have full transparency into all the actions of what people are doing. And people can see, you know, your qualities. Everyone has a rating of what they do. Everyone can do something pretty cool, whatever it is. Everyone could be a part of something. Maybe we all start realizing at some point that value is not based on all of the skills, but basically on being a human being. And every human being is important, and we all create symbiotic connection. So the value of someone who is a porter or a janitor versus someone who is a brain surgeon, every single person has a very specific role in life. Some are really good at, and they're all really good at what they do. There really should be no difference in human life because of the skills that you have.
I think love is my currency.
Is it really? Dr. Love.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, being honest and developing trusting relationships.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So I really want to see a world. Yeah, I really want to see a world where that's respected more, and not necessarily about skills that may or may not make you a better human being. And this is the blockchain. You have to have the sightness, and I think money just corrupts all of this. Money makes people want to do things not because they love them, but because they feel that they can make a lot of money doing them, and they feel that they have to do this in order to survive in a world where we need money. So really, money itself
Yeah,
is the root of evil.
it's sort of like, yeah, like often there's like some kind of exploitation
I
angle
would say
or
more than
something,
often. I would say more than often, but yes.
I'm not
Right,
just being
right.
gentle.
Yeah. Yes, I know. It's okay. And think of this too, like there's something called regenerative finance, which is similar to decentralized finance. And with regenerative finance, there's open transparency to the things that have the processes the thing has gone through as well. Now, imagine you're able to go to the local grocery store, and when you buy your banana or your apple or your steak or whatever you're going to buy, or cereal, and you could see a full report on how it was processed, if they use pesticides,
Mm-hmm.
how they treat their workers. Do you know how many places
Mm-hmm.
would not want to see something like that happen because they are so bad about what they do? This is one other thing that the blockchain
Right.
can open up. You can have full visibility to practices and things, full visibility to people's
Mm-hmm.
contracts. Why do people not want this to happen? Because they have their secret sauce or whatever it is, where, they don't want people to know like what they've made a contract for. We've got all these different things, but we need to have a world that's a little bit more open where there is no kind of like jealousy for someone else. You are just happy being yourself. That's how
Right.
I see the blockchain being important. But of course, it's difficult when you see the Ponzi scams, when you see FTX, when you see Sam Bankman-Fried, when his billions of dollars corruption, where they laundered all this money or
Right.
whatever they were doing, where they promised he would give money to the world to help support all these people, where he wanted to give it all away and no one saw a cent from it. He spent it all on his employees, vacation homes. Yeah, of course this is going to happen.
Mm.
But how many other places that happen with regular money?
Well, I have to go,
All right,
but
Google.
I I hope this I hope we can start to draw more people and back into this because it's been really fun when there's a good group of people. And I guess I kind of feel like I'd recommend keeping it as general as possible, but also so that there's lots of different varieties of ways that people get something out of it.
Like we used to do
Um,
it. So basically, not
trying,
really change anything.
yeah, yeah,
We did
right.
have a bunch of people a couple of weeks ago, so it's just hit or miss here in Spatial. So,
Uh-huh. Cool. You should check out Banter. What was it that you didn't like about what um what's his name said, the Banter
Shane,
guy? Shane,
Shane.
yeah.
it was more
Was
about
it
their thoughts
what
on
turned you
blockchain.
off?
It was more about their thoughts on
Oh,
blockchain.
okay, yeah.
It wasn't like
That's
they were
right. You
against
said
it. They
that.
were
Mm-hmm.
against it. They specifically said they were have nothing to do with it, and like that killed word.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
there
Okay.
isn't there something with the meta store that if you're involved with blockchain or something, um you can't do that sort of thing and be on the um Oculus store
Uh,
because I know
oh,
that's
okay. That
an
might
issue.
right.
No, I
And he
doubt
has
it because
side quests,
spatial
so
is
he really
no
wants
spatial.
to.
Spatial is NFT. You connect an NFT wallet to spatial, and it's on the store.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
But I don't know, maybe I'll look more into the details, but I know that's a big issue with multiverse because a lot of people got into multiverse and spent money there because they thought that there were going to be NFTs and
Right.
blockchain stuff over there, and they kept saying no, no, because we can't do that and be in the Oculus store, we're not going to do that. Maybe in the future or something, but that's been a big issue over there. So I guess maybe I'll look into more exactly what the details
Yeah, I'd
are
love to
on
hear
that.
what that's about. If
What
you could find
exactly?
out. Yeah, I'd love to hear it because I know Spatial
Okay.
specifically. You connect a MetaMask wallet to here, and they're advocates of selling NFTs in here. This is part of what Spatial's about, and it's also on the Meta store.
Right. Right. True.
All right.
All
Good
right,
night.
Gogo.
Good night,
I gotta go
friends.
too. I gotta go
Good
too.
night. See you soon.
I gotta go
Yep.
myself.
I do
Yep. See you
too.
soon. I'll look for you in VR chat. All right. Bye
All
bye.
All
right.
right,
All right. Bye
everybody.
bye.
Signing off. Adios, everybody. Until next week. If you don't come in here, I am going to not be friends with you anymore. I am going to delete everyone. Of course, I'm just kidding. But try not to make me upset. Just come in here and have fun.